Hi everyone. I thought I'd jump on real quick this afternoon and do a quick make of my March daily journal. So it's kind of like a journal folio combo. When I posted the video for my February journal using the Creepy Valentine from Recreations by Brooke, I had a few people request to show how I made this. And it's not hard, just got to be careful of where you're gluing. So what you'll need is 4 envelopes, either the same size, or you could have a couple that are a little bit smaller, but you want the 2 base ones to be the same size. And then the ones you use to make the flaps can be smaller. As long as they're the same width or thinner width, you'll be okay. I grabbed out a couple of my inks I want to use. I have the Cloud9 Metallics, one in Sunshine and one in the Mojito. So this one's a real nice green and this one's a fun yellow. And then I have my 2 glues that I like to use. My Barely Arts glue, which is like the art glitter glue. And then my Scotch permanent glue stick. So you can use whichever glue works for you if you want to use a different glue stick or Fabri-Tac or art glitter or whatever, as long as it works for you. And then you either need a paper pack or a digital kit that you'd like. So I trimmed up some of the edges so it's a little harder to flip through. Brooke's Creepy Clover kit. So there's some that don't have the little zombies and some that do. I like the little zombies, so I'll be using a lot of those. And you can get this from her Etsy shop, which will be linked down below. And I should be able to flip through a little easier now. So you can see some have just nice backgrounds with some nice vintage images. Some of them have the little zombie characters, which I love. So there's also element pages with fussy cuts, which I have fussy cut some of the elements already, but there's more to it than just those. Just got to go to our Etsy shop and check it out. And with these envelopes, we'll get this stuff out of the way. So you will want to ink first if you're going to ink. I did not do that with the February one, and I wish I had thought of it first. It was a little harder to ink afterwards. So this is all set up in ink already. And I'm not worried about the security print because I'm going to cover that up. And the spine, I'm not worried about it just being the paper because we'll reinforce that. So you'll take your first 2 envelopes and I just unfold the flap and line it up as best as I can to be straight for the fold of the flap, because they're not perfectly square envelopes, so they won't line up square. And then what I do is I line this one up, making sure that the fold lines up at the same spot on both sides, like that. And then I just make sure that I'm away from the fold of the flap, and it's hard to see because it's white on white. That's why inking kind of helps too. So these ones have the adhesive strip into which kind of helps out. And what I'll do, if I could pick the envelope back up. So I'm not going to go all the way into the fold. I'm just going to do about an inch, because you can go back afterwards and put more glue in where you need it. Just make sure you're still lined up because it does move. Oh, I'm way off point here. Wow. I'll just have to line it up down there. And what I do is I try to make sure I'm just at the same point here. This is probably the most tedious part, is gluing the envelopes together. And once you feel you're straight, you can burnish it down. I'm not watching the camera, so hopefully it stays in focus. I didn't get any glue down there. And we are good here. So what I do is I just kind of bring it back a little bit. And this is where the ultrafine tips come in handy. You can get down in there. Get some more glue wherever you need it. And then I like to do this with a paper towel if I can grab one. That way, if there's any seepage, the napkin grabs it. And I just buy cheapy paper towels or napkins. So on this side, your spine measures about 1.1 inches. So it's a decent size for 2 signatures. And what you want to do when adding your flaps to the folio part of it, I slide it underneath because you're going to glue your flap down on this side just to make sure I am straight and I'm not crooked on there. And you're away from your fold, as you can see there, because you don't want to be bumped up against it. You pull your little strip off. And then again, only about 1 inch or so. Maybe that's a 1/2 inch. I'm probably way off on my guesstimate of 1.5 inches there. And then just bring it down. Grab your napkin. I just put this new mat down. I don't want to get it all goopy. And it's put there. So we will burnish that down now. And that's also where the napkin comes in handy. When you burnish it down, the glue will seep out. And then again, come back over and add the glue where you didn't hit before. I think I saw when I was watching Crafty Cat, she uses a paper towel to catch the seepage of glue. And there's your flap for your first side. And we'll just flip her back over. Do the same thing on this side, except don't do it upside down. I've done that. And if you don't catch it in time, then you got to start over. Okay. And again, you don't want to be right up against the fold. 1, for movement, and 2, when you come in here, you want to make sure that it's not going to impede on it closing and opening. So that's another reason I do that. And then just make sure you're lined up, because in all that movement I got crooked. And then you come in, same thing again. And again, just make sure you ink if you're going to ink before you lay down your papers. It's a little bit harder once you have the papers laid down if you're changing colors or to get in the space between the paper and the envelope. Oop, that was a lot of glue seepage there. I didn't even see that. I just ran my hand through it. There we go. And I do have a wet wipe for my hands. I grab those when they're on sale. And that is your base of your journal folio. Not hard. Just got to be a little careful when you're gluing, which directions you're gluing things down. And then here for the spine, so you can do this two ways. On my February one, I laid the papers first, then did the fabric tape over the spine to reinforce the spine. And on the inside, I covered it with paper before I put down the fabric, which I sewed the spine into. I think this time I am going to cover the spine first. Now I need to decide, that one's too thin, because I want it to go a little bit over each side. So I've got that one, or I could go really wide and go with that one. Decisions, decisions. I think we'll bring in some yellow. So for this, there's a couple ways you can do it. I want to go far enough over each edge. And really, I don't think there's too much of a directional issue. So I can wrap it back down under a little bit. So I think that one will be good. And I'm just going to tear it. Perfect. And what you can do here, there's a couple options. You can run your glue stick along there, if my camera will focus. Wow, my camera's tired of me today. There we go. So you can either run glue stick along there, or you can run glue stick or wet glue along here. Okay, so I think what I will do is, where's that roll? Measure about where I want it to be. Probably so many easier ways of doing this. And I will run my glue stick along where the tape will lay, instead of trying to hold the tape and glue it at the same time. Maybe this will be a little bit easier. Trial by fire. I don't ever do anything the same twice. I'm always trying something different or something new. I'm hoping that I got this on straight. The one good thing about glue stick is you do have time to maneuver it. It's pretty straight. Almost even and pretty straight. Works for me. Now, if I was going to sell this or give away, which I do with a lot of my journals, I end up making them for people and giving them away. I would definitely make sure I was a little more precise about things, but this is for me. And another key thing to remember is not to fold it while it's drying. Let it dry completely before you fold. And this one will be easy enough to run some glue along the tape. Because it is repositionable, you got to use glue. And this one, with the way I'm going to fold it over, it is going to knock out the pockets. I could cut it if I wanted to, but we'll just leave it how it is. And I will do the spine a little different than I did before. I will still do the hidden spine with the fabric so it lays flat and it's not adhered to the spine. I like when the signatures lay flat. But we'll just do it before we put down the decorative paper. Knocked over my glue. And I do like to burnish it down real good. Now you could still leave the pockets as little tucks and just change how you did them. But I'm going to change up how I did mine a little bit. So there is that. And we're going to let that dry. And I think I'm going to like that. So let's see. This was one of the papers I wanted to use. Oh, I think I like that. I like the contrast and the pop of the yellow. And I may change my mind by the time I glue them down. Who knows? I do like this fabric tape. It is pretty. So I am just going to pause for a bit and let this dry, and I will be back. Okay. I decided we'll continue on with reinforcing the spines. So this one here, you could use any size. And I have so many. I need to choose. This one wide enough? Let's see. Yep. So I'll keep with the yellow theme. And this again is the repositionable fabric tape. So I'll go a little bit more. Now I'll just cut this one with scissors. So you can either run a bead of glue along it, or I think I will just take it along the top of my glue stick. And get some glue on there. Try to line it up straight as I can for myself. And if you can hear my son, I apologize. He is goofing around with his friends online. Did I go up far enough? No. There very well could be easier ways to do this. Got that one where I want it. And again, not highly concerned about, I'm just debating here, because this will get covered. Yeah, we can just bring that one down. Oh, that's straight. Yep, you popped up on me. Because you can always come back in with your craft knife and snip that little piece there. Let's try on that side. Just keep that one down. See how much space I can give myself. It's not the most entertaining of YouTubers. No intriguing stories to tell. Like some of them that I watch, they always have some cool stories. I don't know if I could craft like that. My brain still has to be very focused on what I'm doing, or I will mess it up. I even debated on doing this video to music, but it's harder if I'm trying to explain something. Look at some glue there. Where is it? It's harder to explain. They're just pointing if there's music playing. That glue seemed to have dried quick. Put a little more on there and just bring it up. And the same with that one. My life is pretty simple as far as it goes. Work, home, craft, put stuff up in the store, visit everybody on their channels when I have time. Pretty simple. Hey, excuse me. What I will do is end it here for now. I will let this dry, and then I will come back on with another video on decorating it. And it will probably be completely different color scheme because I have already inked this one and it's ready to go. So all I have to do is reinforce the folds and the spine. And I may end up doing that, although I do like the yellow and the green contrast. I may end up doing it with one of my more green neutral tone washi tapes. But for now, we will see you next time, and thanks for watching. Bye.